How's it going, everybody? Really excited to introduce Andy Hilgartner here to the Coaches Training Program follow-up. Andy's the head coach at McDonough, a great friend. Love talking lacrosse with you. How's it going, Andy?
Going really well, James. How you doing?
Doing good, man. So what I really wanted to do was to be able to chat with coaches that are in our Coaches Training Program and hear about your season a little bit and how you leveraged the JM3 content towards your season, and also just to sort of talk lacrosse with you a little bit.
Sounds great.
So talk to me about what it has been like to use CTP stuff specifically within the scope of your season.
Well, it's just been a great natural fit really for McDonough Lacrosse based on our relationship and the many, many years that we've been talking shop with each other, and kind of just really from being at camps way back in the day at Run and Shoot and sitting in, the dining hall and writing X and O's down on napkins and doing that over the years. And so now to have kind of everything that over the years us and our friends have all been talking about on napkins from dining halls or bars or wherever else, and to kind of put all this content into one place has been an incredible resource for our coaches. We have middle school program, varsity JV programs, and all of our coaches have access to the CTP content, and it's just been great for our program to use as opposed to going to a clinic, which is sort of a one-time deal. Being part of the CTP program really gives us 24/7 access throughout the year, and it's been great for all of our coaches to be able to refer to many times.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking lacrosse and at Ocean Pride and down at Mama's on the Half Shell, at conventions, at camps, Zoom calls, tons of stuff. Well, specifically, you guys run a fair amount of what you call 42, which is basically that Syracuse motion offense. What are some of the things that you took from the CTP as it relates to that? And maybe, specifically what kind of helped you? What are some looks maybe you derived from it?
Well, yeah, we have been running that offense off and on since probably 2015 is when we first started using it. And I think we had only scratched the surface of that offense and what can be done out of that offense. And also thinking about some of the key points in that offense that are really critical to making it work. And so, based on the CTP content, again, whether it was Ryan Danahy's video presentation of that, the clips of Syracuse offense and those guys running it, and then really just kind of some of the other things that you've put on there has really been huge for us. Thinking about some concepts, certainly the movement off ball, the spacing off ball, whether you're filling from the crease, the dodger. We always talk about the dodger, making sure that guy really doesn't just do a dummy dodge and throw down the alley and move the ball behind. That he has to initiate contact. He's got to get defensemen committing to him. He's got to dodge to beat his man. And those are all things that kind of I picked up from the different presentations. And understanding the idea of dodging low, bouncing out, redodging was another thing that we picked up and really started to emphasize more with our initial dodgers. And then, the one look, and I thought we had an attackman the past couple of years, Liam Powderly, who threw this pass better than anybody we've had, is that reverse fill look. And so where you're really dodging down hard, you're drawing to, you're getting it through X, and then that fill guy who's popping out to that vacated spot is getting that pass right back from the attackman. And so that's another thing that over the past couple of years, I think we've gotten a little bit of a better understanding of and been able to execute better, as well as some of the backside motion as well, whether you're fading your top guy and always getting that backside cut into the crease, or whether your crease guy becomes your fade and he goes out to the backside, and then getting different looks off of that. So I think just using the different content that we've seen online has helped us kind of get beneath the surface with that offense and has made a big difference for us.
Yeah, that reverse to what you call reverse to the fill, and I refer to as reverse to the follow. is such a great look that I feel like so few programs really take advantage of. And
Yeah.
you throw it to X, the whole defense starts to flow backside. And if you reverse it right back to that follow guy or the fill guy, oftentimes his man's sagging in and starting to rotate. So yeah, that's a great look. It gives you that lateral spacing.
Yeah, I think Liam Powderly loved that look the past couple of years, and we had some guys that were really good popping off the crease to find that angle and to create that really good passing lane for them, and to finish those shots.
Did you find that you got more of that look, reversing it to the follow based on the crease into the follow spot, or in the top center guy into the follow spot, or was it kind of a pick 'em?
We found it more often with the crease going to the follow spot.
Yeah.
As opposed to the top point midfielder stepping down for the follow look.
Yeah. So when the crease goes to the follow spot, his man's usually sliding, and when the ball he's the open man, and when the ball hits X, nobody rotates over.
Right, because again, as you say, the flow of the defense is going to the backside. The guy who was initially on the ball is recovering, and his instinct is to recover into the crease.
Yep.
And look away from the ball inside to the crease. And so as he's rushing to get back inside, that's what opens that lane up a little bit more for that shot.
Yeah. And I bet likewise, when your top center guy goes to the follow and your crease floats out, or as you call fades out the back, you're probably getting that look on the backside a little bit more for the same reason that his man slid. And as we drop that top center man down to that follow spot, if his defender follows him at all, there's nobody's getting back to that backside float spot.
Right. And the other thing that we love to do out of that is you have that guy who floats out the back. If he gets covered as that ball moves behind the goal, if he has a short stick on him, then we call it a slam. He's coming right down to goal line extended to pick for the ball, and creates a great dodging opportunity where, because it's coming from the backside, maybe they don't communicate that pick as well, and gives our attackman a good opportunity to go off of that as well.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about defensively. I mean, there is so much content in the CTP on defensive stuff. I'm a, self-proclaimed disciple of Jerry Burns. So I really have studied what he does. And a lot of the content that I've put in there that I've studied has been relative to that. However, I've gotten some great presentations from guys like John Galloway and BJ Grill that play a little bit of a different, it's great stuff. There's different ways to skin a cat. But which of that stuff have you guys been able to leverage and maybe tell us a little bit, some of the drills or concepts you've used?
Well, I would say a lot of the positional work stuff we've used a ton. Obviously, Jerry Burns got a full library of his positional work stuff with the defense that we've used, especially just sort of, like with his drills, you kind of have to use your imagination a little bit as far as where the ball might be offensively, and but getting, I think, some positional drills for defense are very focused on the ball play or stick work type drills. We got some great ones from John Galloway from his presentation that we used, but I think the nice thing about some of the ones that I've seen through your content that Jerry's done or that you've implemented have been more about off ball, about getting ball side on the crease, being in a good position to slide, having the right posture, seeing your man, seeing the ball, head turn type philosophy or emphasis. And so we've used those for sure. And then as far as team concepts, the zone talk, I thought the zone presentation was really helpful for us. We talked with John Torpy this year a little bit about ways that we can float back and forth between man and zone. And so in order to teach our zone, we had all of our defensive coaches and myself following your content and going through some of the zone defensive talks that were given and taking, bits and pieces of it to see what would work best with our personnel. Yeah. And so that's something that we did as the year moved along. And a lot of it was our defense kind of going on the CTP program and finding out how do we best teach our players these concepts. And, and then you and I have talked about this. You could teach zone defense just like you could teach zone offense by doing 5-on-4s, and so we did a ton of 5-on-4s. obviously smaller scaled reps, but more reps and pretty much the same kind of dynamic as what you're looking for in your zone defense or zone offense for that matter.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I think the whole Jerry Byrne stuff that I've put in this was trying to take Jerry's concepts that we'd already know that this is the Notre Dame TV YouTube channel is awesome. But what I tried to do was like, I actually like, I had access to a lot more content of Jerry's and obviously access to him on a phone call, and I visit campus quite often.
Right.
So I kind of like what I tried to do was like implement this whole, the defense as a whole, figure out how to implement all the drills and teach the drills in a way that's relative to how you do it for high school. I think that, so I really, Jerry's drills are still must-watch TV, but I also think that when you sort of add this, it's a complement on understanding how to integrate it. So that was kind of what my goal is. So hopefully you guys found that too.
Yeah, and I would say for any high school coach, again, just having a little more just depth of content for us and being able to say, okay, this is what works for us on our schedule. And I know like you and I have talked about how with high school lacrosse, we play 2 games a week. Sometimes early in the season, we play 3 games a week. And there's not a ton of time for film review, as important as that is. We try and make time for it because we know it's a huge priority. But I think for our coaches to be able to take the content that you have and find what works best for us and what can we implement into a practice 2 days before a game, what can we implement even the day before a game that's going to help us be best prepared for our opponent. I can't tell you how much it's just been really helpful for our program.
It's awesome. A huge passion of mine and yours is skill development. And in this platform of content, there's so much information about how to develop dodgers and shooters and feeders. There's breakdowns on what specific skills are. There's probably 10 or 12 skill videos that are somewhere between 6 and 20 minutes long that are pretty sick. And at the same time, there's webinars on how to teach it and how to do it. If we were to talk about how you've leveraged that and with some of the video assessment stuff that you've also leveraged in your program where you send me your game films and I do breakdowns on your players, how would you say this program has helped you guys with your skill development?
Yeah, I would say in 2 ways. One is just with the drills, and there are skills such as dodging, shooting, stick work, those types of things. And so it certainly helped to get content of practice planning and different drills that we can use. But then those other concepts of off-ball movement, what are we doing as far as spacing? What are we doing with picks? What are we doing with slips? What are we doing with just different exchanges off the ball? And so you look at a drill like that Buckeye build-up drill, and where it's not just rush to the goal, make 2 passes and score, but, where you're putting in different rules such as you have to have an on-ball pick before, you have to have a clear-through replace, which we call a snap. And so I think teaching some of those skills in those drills has been really important. I've always been a huge proponent of 4-on-4s and doing 4-on-4s tight, like in a box, above goal and extended within the restraining box. One of the 4-on-4 drills that you gave me and that we got from the online content was 4-on-4 with nothing but fades. And teaching guys to fade. And so that's a huge skill. I'm planning on doing that with my 6th grade club team tomorrow night at practice because they don't understand when a guy's coming at them what to do if they're not cutting through, that there's another option as far as fading to be able to be in a great position to receive the pass and throw ahead or be in a position to receive the pass and shoot the ball. So those are the sort of second level skills that we've used the content for to implement into our practices. And then with the video evaluation, the player assessment, we've had a bunch of our guys do that with you. And right away, the initial feedback that they get or that they give me is, wow, that was awesome. It was great. Really hit on a ton of things that I hadn't thought about and some things that I know that I need to work on. And that's their initial feedback from them and from their parents, frankly, every time. But what's great is when I hear a month later them saying, yeah, hey, I watched my video assessment again last night, and it kind of reminded me of a couple things that I need to do, whether it's, hesitating on my dodges a little bit more, or being a little more patient to start my dodge, sort of as Coach Donahue always says, right?
Yep.
The race begins when you want it to begin.
Yep.
And I love that quote there. And so I think our guys refer back to the evaluation multiple times throughout the year. And then you see them, whether it's in pre-practice or post-practice or even during practice, working on those specific skills that they got as a result of that assessment. And certainly our coaches are giving both big picture and small picture feedback to our players throughout the season and throughout our winter training sessions that we do. But I think having something that really breaks down the film for an individual player that they can go back and reference has been invaluable for their development for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's not like these are things that your players are never hearing from you guys about these topics.
Right.
Nobody has the time to take 5 hours to go cut up, all of your dodges, shots, the advanced stats of actually chronicling every off-ball movement you made in a particular game, as well as every off-ball movement that you could have, should have, would have made.
Yeah, for sure.
Part of this is just, and I guess another set of eyes isn't a bad thing either, because we generally agree on the things we're talking about are pretty basic and standard. They might be cutting edge, but they are fundamental. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always agree that, hearing a different voice is a good thing, and so because I work at Mcdonough and I'm with these kids 24/7, I'm with them during the school day. I'm with them, at practice and around campus, especially with some of the boarding kids and my own sons being in the program. It's always good to get a different voice and to hear a different perspective. And listen, I've been coaching lacrosse now for 25 years. And even for me, coming online and just hearing whether it's you or some of the guests that you've had share their perspectives is enlightening for me, and it makes me a better coach too. And so I think that, players want to get better. They want to grow. Coaches want to get better. They want to grow. Whether you've been coaching the game for 5 years or whether you've been coaching for 25 years, if you're a good coach and you care about bringing your best to your players, then you're going to want to continue to get better and learn new things. And so, I'm just hungry to learn every single day that I can. And from getting it from different people, just makes a lot of sense to me rather than trying to do it all on my own.
Yeah. I mean, we expect our players to try to get better every day. We as coaches should want to do the same thing. I love it. I feel like every couple days or every week, there's something new that I learn that I'm like, oh my God, how did I not know that?
Right.
And it's fun. I mean, it's part of the fun part of the game. Last question, how do you, during the course of the year, do you refer back and chip away at there's a lot of content in there, I mean, you've probably seen a lot of it, but you probably haven't seen it all because I keep adding good stuff in there. How do you sort of chip away in the off season at that?
Well, during the summertime, I look at it some, but I'm usually on the road almost every weekend at a tournament with my own kids or doing my own camps and tournaments. So usually I would say it's late summer, and then during the fall is really when I spend a lot of time looking at it. As a program, we don't do a lot in the fall because most of our kids are multi-sport athletes and playing football or lacrosse or football or soccer or water polo or whatever other fall sports we have. And so because it's a little bit of downtime, I'm not working with the guys on the field during the fall that much. It gives me a great opportunity to sharpen my saw a little bit. And so that's usually when I dive in. That's also when I get opportunities to go visit colleges and see what they're doing and meet with coaches about their programs and how they run their programs on and off the field. So, but I would say the fall is a big time, and certainly during the winter as we begin to plan out what kind of offense we're going to run, defense. as we start to think about our practice plans. And we have in the MIA, we have a rule that you can only do 3 hours per week in the off season with your players. And so we do an hour of skills and drills one morning a week before school. And then we usually do about an hour to an hour and a half on the weekends, getting a little more up and down. And so we use those times to implement a lot of the drills and content that we've gotten off the website.
Keep away.
I'm sorry?
A lot of the keep away stuff you got going this year.
Exactly. Yeah, we did a bunch of that this winter and continue to implement that throughout the spring. So I think for me personally, it's mostly fall and winter time where I'm really immersed in a lot of the video. And then as we start working with our guys during the winter season is where we start implementing it with our players.
Right. And then in season, it's hard to have as much time, but there's always, a webinar that's like, oh, I really want to see the webinar on the Penn State offense, or, man, we're going to be facing some special situation. Maybe you can refer back to some other content, or just shoot me an email and be like, hey, dude, I need a man up look. But, would you find that during the season, sometimes that there's opportunities for you to like get information that's pertinent to the situation you're going to be facing?
Yeah, no doubt. And it might be a specific situation we're going to face with a team that we're playing, or it might just be like, you know what? Practice has been stale this week. I need something new. I need whether it's something new as far as an entire approach to practice, or I need some new half field transition drills, or I need, we've been really bad in our transition game, like, what can I watch online tonight that I can implement in practice tomorrow? And so I think it can certainly help, whether it's reviewing zone offense concepts because we're going to play a zone team next week, or whether it's just some different practice plans to change things up and get a little bit of a fresh take on maybe the same topic that we've been going over, but give the guys, again, it's almost like hearing that different voice, except it's maybe a different drill that we would throw out that accomplishes the same thing.
Right. Awesome, man. Well, Hilgi, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your thoughts on this. Have an awesome summer with your boys, and you've got 3 of them playing. Is Matt going out to Vail or something? Is that his reward for graduating and headed off to Penn?
Yep, he'll be doing the Vail U19 tournament. Really excited to get back up into the mountains. We'll get guest coach Rife Hilgartner maybe helping out.
Oh yeah.
And maybe swing by the Chipotle on Evans, your old meeting spot with you and Peter Hilge.
Yeah.
And but excited for that. And then Matt, he'll be hanging out with BJ Farrar in the weight room a lot this summer too.
Yeah. And then you got your little guy, the 2025.
Jake's at 2025 and Scotty's at 2021. So it's a big summer for Scotty, and playing in a lot of different tournaments with his Crabs team and his McDonough team.
Good stuff, man. Well, listen, I'll be in touch. Look forward. I'm going to be down in Baltimore soon. We'll have to get some, go down to Ocean Pride and get some half and half soup.
Yeah, no doubt. Looking forward to it.
All right, brother. Thanks.
All right, Jamie. See ya.
All right, see you, Hilgi.
Bye.